Chapter 5.
His father was forced to step down or be killed. He's actually training here too.
What? I gasped. I needed to leave.
Don't let him run you off, Buff.
I'm not ready to see him.
It's been over a year since it happened.
Since he rejected me in front of the old pack and now is going to embarrass me in front of a new pack. No chances. I'm going home.
You can't just leave training. You'll be followed, brought back, and punished. Quitting isn't in anyone's vocabulary here.
She rolled her eyes and folded her arms over her chest.
This sucks. You probably saw me get my ass kicked yesterday.
Letitia laughed.
Everyone saw that, honey.
A siren blared, assaulting our eardrums. Minutes later, wolves were running out of the gym, the cafeteria, and other makeshift buildings.
What is that?
I asked.
Ugh, emergency training.
Like a pop quiz?
Exactly. Alpha Titan teaches this class and doesn't last long. We'll talk after.
I sighed heavily and joined the rest of the betas in line. I made sure to stay at the end of the line so Titan wouldn't see me, though I wanted him to know I wasn't late today. Holden stood behind with his arms folded behind his back. Again, he stared at us like we were crap.
The fence? I'll need a volunteer.
Titan said. There were a dozen wolves that raised their hands and kicked their neighbors just to get his attention, but still.
Buffy, get up here.
Crap.
Ready for round 2?
Someone snickered. I groaned.
Kill me.
I walked up to the mat and fixed my gaze on Titan's black combat boots. If I looked at the crowd that wanted me to fail, I'd lose the little ounce of fight I had in me. Titan explained he was going to demonstrate how to take your opponent out using offensive moves. My job was to try and block him. This class should be called How to Kill Buffy.
Your stance is wrong.
He barked. I swallowed and spread my feet apart. He aimed for my head and I narrowly escaped. I think he let me have that one. I stumbled, losing sight of where Titan was. Before I knew it, his meaty arms were around my tiny waist, dropping me to the ground. I landed with a hump.
Pay attention,
he ordered. I got to my feet and stuck out my arm. Titan grabbed it, twisted, and pinned it behind my back. I cried out.
You should be able to get out of there.
His breath caressed my cheek. I struggled, but it was like battling a chain.
Maybe if you weren't such a brewer.
Want me to show you how much of a brunt I really am? He whispered.
I think I get the picture.
I raised my knee as high as I could and landed my foot on Titan's boot. Every nerve in my leg felt that. It was enough to get him to back away. I got close enough to aim for his crotch. Titan blocked me with his palm, then seized my arm.
Watch it there, Buffy. You wouldn't want to do that.
He smirked. Titan turned to the class.
Pick your partners.
I chose that moment to leave. While everyone went ahead and picked their punching bag, I went and hid in the locker room. I needed a shower and a moment to wallow. When I calmed my breathing down, I grabbed a towel and headed to the shower. I should have carried my clothes to the shower with me. Now I was walking around dripping wet. I bumped into someone on my way to change. I pulled the towel tighter to my chest. I thought this was the women's shower.
What are you doing here?
I asked Titan. He had a towel wrapped around his waist. He held on to the front of it while his eyes remained locked on me.
What does it look like I'm doing?
He wasn't dripping like me, so I guess he was on his way to the shower.
I thought this was the woman's shower.
He sighed. I had to admit Titan had beautiful eyes, but beyond that lay the soul of a monster. A wolf's eyes only went red when he had taken the life of another wolf. I'd seen his eyes turn red before.
Something wrong, little wolf?
He walked closer, and instinctively I stepped back and hit the wall. Titan didn't stop.
Me.
I cleared my throat.
You're the one in the women's bathroom. What do you want to see?
The showers are communal. He caged me between his chest and the wall. His arms prevented me from ducking through his sides. The sheer force of his scent ran down my throat. It was intoxicating in a sweet way. Titan moved closer when I didn't think we could get any close. He was almost crashing into me. I bit my bottom lip to stop from whimpering.
You should bite your tongue, Ursi,
he said.
What? Your defiant tongue is going to get you into big trouble.
If you haven't killed me yet, then I guess I can't be that bad.
Do you want me to kill you, little wolf? Do you want me to destroy you?
His breath was hot on my cheek. A pool of moisture formed between my legs. I didn't want him to turn me on. I squeezed my legs together to get rid of the ache, but with Titan so close that didn't help.
I won't let you.
I think the reason you're so defiant is because you want to get my attention.
No.
I shot back.
You want me to touch you? You like it when I'm this close, don't you?
He dragged my chin so I was facing him. There were those blue eyes again. His clean locks ran down his chest. I had to hold myself back, or else my fingers were going to find their way down his tanned skin, tracing his mysterious tattoos. I breathed so heavily that it even made my chest hurt. The corners of his mouth lifted in a mischievous smirk.
I can smell that.
I didn't dare ask what.
Your lust.
Titan seemed to be wearing the same scent. I shut my eyes and shook my head. I wasn't going to fall into this trap. I wouldn't be his toy. I wouldn't let him possess me.
Chapter 6.
Scared little wolf?
He asked. My legs were weak. My nipples were hard. If Titan picked me up and wrapped my legs around his waist, I might have exploded.
I'm not scared of you.
My body screamed at me to let it indulge in the pleasures of a powerful orgasm. Titan would wreck me like no one had. I hadn't been with a man since Jamie. He was the only one who ever explored my body, and we never even had sex. We stared into each other's eyes for what felt like an eternity. The overwhelming sense of our desires mingling in the air. Titan leaned back and walked away. I waited until his massive frame disappeared before I let out the breath I had been holding in.
You're such an idiot, Buffy. He was ready to have you right there on the wall.
My wolf blasted me, I whispered.
That's what I was afraid of.
I knew my wolf had been lonely and heartbroken, as was I, living away from the pack and getting rejected by Jamie. But that didn't mean I was going to fall on the first dick that stood up for me, especially when he was responsible for my mom's death. I walked back to the shower because Titan had left more than a little pool between my legs. After getting dressed, I started for home.
Hey, Buffy, wait up. Letitia screamed.
I turned around and found Letitia chasing after me. What's up? I asked. You okay? I was pinned to the wall by a horny alpha. I'm cool. Why? I replied. You got your ass kicked twice in the same week. What other reason is there? I sighed and started walking again. It's just training. You've got to be the unluckiest wolf at the school to be singled out by Titan, she said. I can't stand him because... I crooked. Letitia's brows dipped. What do you know about the invasion? She asked. I know enough, Letitia. My mom was killed, I said. I know. Alpha Titan and the former Alpha had an agreement. He was supposed to give Titan more than a third of the pack's land. But you know Jamie's dad. He was irrational and crazy. He tried to double-cross an Alpha like Titan. I know more happened behind the scenes, but Alpha Titan made sure the takeover was smooth, with minimal casualties. I frowned upon hearing this. Yeah, my mom was a casualty, and that was more than enough. I know what you're thinking, but he didn't cause her death. The betas were all ordered to stand down and not fight, but Jamie thought he was a big shot. My eyes went wide, and I couldn't ask the question on the tip of my tongue. He gathered some of the dumb wolves and went to fight Titan. Your parents went to stop them, but well, you know what happened after. I could have dropped lifeless on the road, but I held myself, and I held in the tears. She was dead because of Jamie's recklessness. He had to steal something else from me? I cried. I heard it was an accident, but I doubt that means anything to you. Letitia shrugged. You're right. It doesn't. I sniffled. I wish I could make it better. I nodded. Thanks, Letitia. I have to go. Wait, Buff. There's an overnight training session. Pack some stuff. We'll have tents set up. When I got home, I found everyone placing cups, plates, and dishes in boxes. Are we moving already? Grandma beamed. Finally. We get to move out of this hellhole. Not back to our old neighborhood, though. That place was destroyed. I remembered finding my childhood home in tatters. Could that be because of Jamie as well? I thought, have you told Sky? I asked Dad. Buff! Your brother. What, Dad? I pressed. Has something happened to my brother? No, but he's gone incognito. We might not hear from him for a while. He explained. Dad, aren't you worried? Your brother made his choice, honey. Now we have to make ours. Grandma took my hand and patted my shoulder. Sky was so stubborn. I bet it hurt his ego more than anything when he wasn't considered to be a beta in the new pack. So, are you guys all right with the new pack? Are you going to be one of the betas again, Dad? Yes, dear, I have accepted it. I'm not going to be a beta. Alpha Titan offered me a position on the council, and he took it. Well, I'm in the beta army. I announced to everyone. My grandparents stopped packing and my dad eyed me quizzically. Maybe it was too soon to tell them that. Is that where you've been running off to? Dad asked. Yes, I think. Dad ran his fingers through his hair. That's great, honey. We're proud of you, Granddad said, and he was a man of very little words. I could tell my dad was a little skeptical. I didn't understand why when he was going along with the new pack too. I went to my room to start packing my things for the overnight training tomorrow. I went to bed thinking about him. His scent had tattooed itself in my mind. He was the first man to make me feel alive in a long time. It was just a glimpse of what could happen, but it was more than what I had ever experienced. Alpha Titan followed me into my dreams.
Next day on training.
Make sure you lock your tent from the inside, Ivy said. Don't be so dramatic, Karina said. No, the boys can get a little wild, probably for the best. Letitia said, this was my first overnight training session. Letitia told me Holden made everyone wake up at midnight to do mountain exercises. I wasn't too happy about that. It's not like they can't just rip the tents off anyway, I said, grabbing bread off the tray in the cafeteria. It was after 5 and our next class was at 9. I hadn't seen Titan anywhere. It kind of stung. I was expecting to see him. Maybe he realized I wasn't worth his attention anyway. What happened yesterday was his way of getting a rise out of me. That had to be the only explanation. You can take them, Karina said. I still wouldn't want to be ambushed by a bunch of the West Wolves boys. Easy for you to say. You're going to be patrolling and not sound asleep. Not expecting one of those idiots to turn your tent upside down, Ivy complained. We burst into laughter. Do we all have to patrol? I asked. Karina shook her head. It's only for the wolves Holden promotes, when he feels you've earned the right for better responsibilities. Great. More work, I sighed. And fewer classes, Karina smirked. I would prefer patrolling more than climbing a mountain in the middle of the night. After we ate, we went to our tents. I climbed into my sleeping bag to catch some sleep before the brutal trek. Sometime during the night, someone walked into my tent. He was tall, muscular, but I couldn't catch his face. I sat up as he approached me. He climbed onto the bed, and I did nothing to stop him. I didn't even ask what he was doing. He cupped my face gently before he aggressively snatched my breast. I moaned as sweet pleasure coursed through my body. His mouth met the small of my neck, and I traveled my hands down his back. Who was he? Why was I letting him touch me?
Chapter 7.
My mysterious companion pulled my shirt over my head and laid me down. I wrapped my legs around his waist and pushed my torso to meet his throbbing cock. The heat between my legs threatened to burn a hole in my shorts. I wanted him to take me, explore me, and wreck me to bits, the way I wanted Titan to do. I yanked on his shirt and pleaded with him to get naked. He took my wrists and told me to be patient. He wanted to tease me, but my wolf didn't want to be teased. It wanted to be fucked. It was beautiful agony. He climbed off me and it felt like I lost a part of myself. He straightened himself to be able to remove his shirt, revealing a beautiful set of washboard abs. I longed to trail my hands down them, but my lover for the night held my hands and prevented me. He tugged on my pants. I pushed my hips up to let him completely undress me. He yanked the underwear off too. He quickly unbuckled his belt and tossed his pants. This was it. He laid on top of me. I moaned as his cock slipped into me.
Buffy!
My name came out in a growl. My eyes popped open with my mouth open mid-moan. I sat up. My shirt was up to my breasts. I quickly pulled it down.
You? What are you doing in my room?
I had kicked off my sleeping bag. My legs were on display for Titan to see. I scrambled to cover myself.
You should be out there with the rest of the troop.
He blasted, pointing at the door.
That doesn't give you the right to come into my tent.
My cheeks were as red as cherries, and the rest of me burned with embarrassment. The moisture between my legs indicated it was more of a lake than a pond down there. I swallowed the lump in my throat, well aware that he could smell my arousal. I pulled the fleece to my chest to cover my hard nipples. Titan's stare undressed me back down to just my underwear. Titan growled and raked a hand through his locks.
You think you're a princess, don't you?
He stalked toward me. He picked me up by my arm before lifting me off the ground. I had no choice but to wrap my legs around his waist. I felt like I was standing on top of a skyscraper. He didn't rip my arms off. In fact, he cupped my ass to keep me in place. You can't do this.
I can't? You should be punished. How many times have you broken the rules and come in late?
There's worse things I can do, I whined.
You need to fall in line with everyone else, little wolf. You don't want to know what happens with rebellious wolves.
Fire burned within me. I held his glare. I wanted to tell him I wasn't made for following rules, that rebellion was in my blood, but Titan was asserting his dominance.
He barked. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, I said through gritted teeth.
Yes, what?
I shut my eyes. This felt like bowing down to the enemy. Yes, Alpha.
He groaned. Good.
He released me and I stumbled to my feet. Tears stung my eyes and I wrapped my arms over my chest to hide my pointy nipples. Titan turned to leave.
Buffy?
Yes.
Fraternizing with the male wolves is forbidden.
My heart slammed forward.
What? No one mentioned that.
I replied.
You heard me. If a wolf is found in your room, you're both dead.
He said before storming out of the tent. I collapsed on my makeshift bed. Now I couldn't even have a boyfriend.
Next day.
Hey, we didn't see you last night.
Ivy said at breakfast.
I kind of overslept.
I laughed nervously.
Wish I thought of that. Ivy frowned.
We grabbed bowls of cereal and sat on the benches. Karina was asleep since she had patrol last night.
It isn't like someone wouldn't have come looking for you.
Letitia said. I didn't say anything about the way Titan marched in and found me in a very compromising position. Loud and annoying laughter came from the West Wolves table. They were playing a stupid game of tossing bread at each other. For the first time, I noticed girls on their table. Most of them were comfortable on the guys' laps.
I hate those guys. I'm going to get more bread.
Ivy spat before getting up to grab seconds.
Hey, I didn't know it wasn't allowed for wolves on camp to have relations,
I said. Letitia's lips formed a deep frown.
Where on earth did you hear that?
My heart slammed forward.
Some girls talking. Must be newbies. That's impossible. Of course we're allowed to date here. Can you imagine what it would be like if we weren't? What are we in high school?
I laughed nervously. Why the hell would Titan tell me it was forbidden? He practically told me he would kill me if I was seen with another guy.
Why? Got your eye on anyone?
Letitia giggled.
Oh, please, I'm not ready. You need to get over Jamie, Buffy. He isn't worth it. There are lots of nice beta wolves in camp. You should explore your options.
I let out a shaky breath. Titan couldn't punish me over an invisible rule. I nodded and smiled. She was right. Letitia told me there was a ritual coming up to prepare for the night of victory. This was when the strongest wolves were known in the camp, and the weak ones were kicked out. The ritual was supposed to be low-key, with only members of the pack allowed to come. Letitia was going to have an activity and asked me to join. She remembered how much I loved singing. I'd never sung in front of the whole pack before. I told her I would think about it. After hitting the gym, I decided to leave. I had successfully avoided Alpha Titan, but that didn't mean I didn't land into trouble.
I thought you looked familiar.
A husky laugh came from behind me. I whirled to meet a familiar face. Corey, I guessed.
You remember me.
He was looking better than a year ago. His brown hair was now blood red. His arms were full of tattoos or knives and snakes that covered his skin with black ink. He had gotten a piercing on his upper left eye. He didn't look like Corey, the good boy from down the street anymore. He was Jamie's close friend. Of course, I was just leaving though. I wasn't getting a good vibe from Corey, so I turned to leave. He was quick to jump in front of me.
Wait up. Where have you been all this time? Decided to run when Jamie rejected you?
I don't want to talk about that. I have to go home. I tried to round him, but he stepped in front of me.
Hold up, Buffy. You know the truth.
What are you talking about?
That you were fast, Ma.
Me? Jamie and I were high school sweethearts. He was the only guy I had ever dated. You know that.
You threw yourself at him, Buffy.
He spat. What the hell was wrong with him? I thought, you know what? Good night, Corey. It was nice catching up. He held me in place and my heart started to pound faster. I screamed, "What do you want?" He flashed his silver wolf at me.
I came here to show interest in you, Buffy, or what? You think you're better than me?
He backed me up. My body had gone cold. My wolf didn't reciprocate to his feelings. In fact, she rejected his approach. No, of course not, but I'm just not interested right now. I struggled against his hold.
You can't turn me down. Jamie won't have you. He rejected you for another woman. Remember.
A familiar scent grabbed my attention, but I wouldn't take my eyes off the threat in front of me. I knew he was watching. Good, he's her problem now.
Corey barked out a laugh. I want you, Buffy. I want your tight ass.
He leaned and I moved away. I raised my knee as high as possible and aimed for his crotch. When I made contact, he yelled and fell to his knees. I used my elbow to ram into his back. He collapsed on the ground.
Fuck you, Buffy. He screamed.
You're such a pig. It's going to be worse next time, I promise. I hiked up my bag and started away, but not before noticing Titan, who was watching things unfold from a distance. Chapter 8. Did we have to move so close to the Alpha's house? I asked my dad. It's a good house, Buffy. Dad replied, your dad's being modest. The Alpha values his opinion, so he gave us this house so your father's advice wouldn't be so far away. Isn't it great? I rolled my eyes. Now I got to see him more than I already did. Our houses were so close I could see his white pickup truck parked in his driveway. At least I knew Mr. Never Be Late was still at home. Well, at least things are looking up, I said, trying to sound optimistic. If only Sky would come back and realize things aren't so bad. I hadn't heard of one riot, or even the resistance doing anything to disrupt the new Alpha. My old neighborhood was being rebuilt into newer and finer houses. I still harbored deep hatred for the new pack, but it was undeniable that the new pack was doing pretty good. Sorry, we can't have breakfast, honey, Grandma said, unpacking her new kitchen. I'm the one sorry. I can't help unpack everything. I have to be at training soon. I glanced at my watch. I still had 45 minutes to get there. However, no matter how early I got up, I was the type of person who still ended up late. Grandma paused from taking out the coffee machine. Everything going well for you that side? Aside from Alpha Titan being self-absorbed, entitled, and devastatingly handsome, who thought he had the right to come into my room to spy on me? Everything was going well. I gave my grandma a kiss on the cheek. I should go. I'll try to be back early. I changed into my training uniform. Black tank top and black leggings, and left the house. In 15 minutes, I walked into the base, the quiet, empty base. A person could cough and the sound would echo for miles. I didn't mean to be this early, I muttered. I dumped my bag on a bench near the gym. I didn't want to wait out there on my own with a couple betas prowling around, especially when Corey could appear at any time. Titan saw he was harassing me. Wasn't he going to stop it? I didn't care. I started walking. I was more than capable of protecting myself. Titan must have seen that yesterday. I kept on walking towards the trees. I left behind the open field. I sighed. I hadn't realized I'd come to a lake, a vast body of water shimmering in front of me like a sky full of stars. I tugged on my shirt. Sweat stuck to my tank top. I didn't have to be back at the base for like 30 minutes. A swim wouldn't hurt. I don't remember the last time I went swimming, I said. I pulled off my shirt and kicked off my shoes. I was sure the last lake I went skinny dipping in was this, Lake Rocha. It was the only one in the pack and the biggest one for miles. I pulled off my leggings and ran into the freezing water. I went under and kicked my feet for a few minutes. I needed to cool off. Not sure if from the sun, but definitely from the nerves that had been knotting together in my back. Titan resembled a demigod, but he was fucking annoying. I hated that he walked in on me. Almost hated it. Who knew what I said while I was in the middle of a devastatingly awesome wet dream? I cupped my breasts and moaned. Heat built up between my legs. I went under the water again, hoping the cold water would shock me out of my moment of arousal. My nipples were still hard and the ache between my legs hadn't gone away. I was in the mood. I looked around, not a pair of eyes between the thick trees. I slipped my hand between my legs. The second my fingertips touched my clit, I moaned. I rubbed the little swollen bud, and the ache there turned to motions of pleasure. I made tiny circles on my clit, running my fingers through my folds in a slow, teasing motion. I wanted it quick, but I also wanted to savor the moment and make it last long. I threw my head back and cupped my right breast and squeezed the hard nipple. So many years of being sexually neglected came crashing down on me. The past year I hadn't managed to touch myself. In my mind, I was unworthy because Jamie rejected me. I denied myself this kind of pleasure. Now I was building toward a massive orgasm, and I couldn't contain my moans anymore. I shut my eyes and let every moan of pleasure escape and touch the sky. I was close, and I couldn't wait for the explosion. Until a twig snapped somewhere, like my eyes popped open and my hand moved from my clit to hide my breasts. I scanned the land for an animal or just a fallen branch. Not again! I groaned. Titan marched out from between the trees and stopped short of the shore. I backed up, knowing I was naked and he could see every part of me. His eyes burned with rage. His muscles were tense. He was almost glowing. What do you want? My voice cracked. Is this why you're always late, Buffy? You come out here to touch yourself? My temper boiled over. I don't owe you any explanations. He barked. Yes, you damn well do. His voice echoing throughout the forest. I backed into the water. Maybe I could swim to the other side. Was I really going to abandon my clothes? I wasn't going to let Titan get me or order me around this time. I held his furious glare even though it sparked fear in my core. It did something else, something that scared me. It aroused me. He ordered, "Come out of there," his voice low, yet stern. I remained silent. He stared, expecting me to jump like a good little puppy. No. What? You think this is a joke? How the hell did you even find me? Did you come here to watch me touch myself? He puffed out his cheeks and waved me off. I've got better things to do than watch your feeble attempt at pleasuring yourself. I gasped. Feeble? You have no idea what you're doing. Now get out. I don't have time for this. No? I'm sick and tired of you ordering me around. Who do you think I am? I'm your fucking alpha. You're my subordinate. You're supposed to do what I say, and I'm telling you to get out of the water, Buffy. Titan wasn't messing around this time. There was a dark, determined look in his eyes. Darkness coupled with heavy hunger. I said no. I wasn't giving in this time either. He growled. When I thought he was going to throw in the towel, he marched into the water after me. No. No. I was too slow to dive under and swim away. His meaty hands circled my waist and dragged me out of the water. There was literally nothing for me to hang on to in there. You're such a brute. He slammed me on the sand. He pinned me down to the large body. And you're a stubborn little wolf, and I can't stand you, Buffy. The feeling is very much mutual. We both groaned. Then his lips crashed into mine, covering them with his soft lips. He kissed me hard and fast, like an animal determined to eat me whole.
Chapter 9.
Oh my gosh, I whispered between the kisses. Titan held my face in his hands as his lower body pinned me down. This is it, Buffy. Don't ruin this for me. Gia. My wolf wiggled like a dog happy to see its owner. I moved my hands to shove him off myself, but instead, as Titan's tongue slipped between my lips and into my mouth, I relaxed against the sand and curled my fingers against his shirt. How could it be that the huge mountain warrior was capable of being so soft and sweet with someone he supposedly couldn't stand? He ran his big hands down my shoulders, caressing my sides to where he rested them on my waist. He pulled back, ending our kiss. I inhaled. I didn't realize I was running out of breath. What I found when I looked in Titan's eyes was another beast. His pupils were wide, his eyes glowing. His hair almost felt alive. He ripped my legs apart. What are you doing? My voice cracked. He didn't have to answer. His hand slid inside my left thigh. He stroked the skin up to the ache between my legs. I shivered. My brain had all but stopped functioning. His fingers found the source of heat between my legs. He ran his finger down my wetness. His fingers stretched my folds and rubbed on my clit. I arched my back and gasped. You had no idea what you were doing. Titan mumbled. Oh yeah? Got a point to prove? I challenged him. Titan lifted his gaze from my swollen clit to accept the challenge. He pressed on my clit and smirked. He lowered himself on me. He placed his face between my legs. I moaned and attempted to close my legs. The pain, the need was unbearable. Titan pried them apart. Keep them open, Buffy. So I spread them. His tongue ran up my entrance, and I let out a cry that rippled through the lake. He sucked on my clit, and something dormant woke in me. His tongue teased me for a couple of seconds. Titan was holding back. This wasn't all he had to offer, but the taste of what he could do was enough to have my mind racing. You're so fucking wet, he growled. Yes, it almost didn't sound like me. I was supposed to hate Alpha Titan, but here I was, letting him pleasure me. He ran 2 fingers down my vagina, letting them soak in my wetness before he let 1 finger slip inside me. I cupped my mouth because I was going to bellow. Titan thrust his finger in and out of me at a slow pace. I moved my hips to match his rhythm and encourage him to go faster. "You're so tight," he grunted, but he pushed through anyway. Of course I was tight. I wasn't the most experienced person when it came to these things. I was on the verge of climax, yet I didn't want this to end. Titan increased his tempo and I cried out, "I'm going to explode! Go on then!" Then my orgasm wrecked me. He didn't stop thrusting in and out when my orgasm came. I moaned and went limp, relishing in the aftermath of an enormous orgasm. Titan ripped his fingers out of me and stood, then started to march off. "Are you?" I sat up. "Get dressed. We have training to do." I slumped on the sand. I had gone to paradise and back. Now Titan was going to pretend we hadn't just done that?
After the training.
After grueling drills that Titan made us do, I dragged my feet home. How could one man be so cruel to make us run 60 laps, then 80 group push-ups, then make us go round the mountain twice? He even left before we finished. He put his watchdogs in charge of us. You can imagine by the time we were done, the sun was gone. And all that was left were twinkling stars. At least I was too busy to run into him and have things be awkward between us. As I got home, I saw his white pickup truck in the driveway beside a small black sports car, parked behind a black SUV. The lights in his house were on. He must have been having a party. I didn't want to regret what happened between us, but now that we had been intimate, things were going to be awkward. I walked into the house and found my grandma walking up the stairs with a mug of coffee in hand. "Oh, Buffy, I thought you had gone to bed already," she said. "No, I just got home," she frowned. "Oh, your father didn't even throw a fit. He must have thought you went to bed too. Where is he?" "Oh, next door. Apparently the alpha is throwing some celebration with a few people. I hope it doesn't get noisy." She walked back to her room. When I got to mine, I slumped on my bed. I hate Titan. I shouldn't have let him touch me. I shut my eyes, but it was so good and he was gentle. But we came from 2 different worlds and we hated each other.
Chapter 10.
The day after the little incident at the lake that I would never repeat to a living soul, I was almost vibrating. I was glowing and I couldn't understand why. Gia was in good spirits, and my heightened senses were sharper than they had been in a long time. I could smell the coffee from my room as if I was in the kitchen too. I could hear the sizzle of bacon in the frying pan, and I could hear my neighbors 2 houses away argue about what color to paint the baby's bedroom. When I went to stand in the bathroom to fix my hair, I realized it was shiny as if I had dipped it in polish. I'm not one to complain about a bad hair day, I mumbled as I ran the brush through my straight hair. I chalked it off to a good day and grabbed some breakfast before I left for another brutal day of Titan's training. "Hey Buffy, wow, you look great," Letitia said when I joined her and the rest of our friends before the session. I looked at my usual uniform and didn't believe her. "I wear this all the time." "She's right. Your hair is glowing," Ivy said.
"Makes me want to grow mine and straighten it."
I laughed. "You look good with the mohawk. Not to mention your skin. Are you using a new moisturizer?" Katrina asked, wide-eyed. "No," I pouted. "Oh, I see." Letitia giggled. Her eyes darted to the rest of the girls. What do you see?" "I should have known. It's an after-sex glow," Letitia said. "Wait, what?" I gasped. "Oh, Buffy, you naughty girl." The girls threw their heads back and laughed. No, there was no sex," I said, waving my hands in the air. The girls continued to giggle, and I blushed. How did I not know about an after-sex glow and that it was a literal glow? It's not like there's anything wrong with it," Letitia smiled. Still, I didn't want everyone to know. Not that he and I even did the deed. Here I was about to ask for your beauty secrets. I guess I know what I have to do. Katrina gave me a naughty look. "We really didn't—" "All right, soldiers to the ground," Holden barked. "We don't have all day. Drag those asses to the field or else we're all doing 5 hours of laps." That made us all abandon our work or food to run to the field. Funny how Holden never did any running too. I noticed more eyes on me as usual as I walked to the field. Most of them were from guys. I scooted closer to my friends. When we had formed 3 long lines, I thought the attention would fall back at Holden. It didn't. The guys glared at me as if I was a rare steak. I nearly whimpered. What did I do? "You might want to stick close," Ivy said. "What's going on? Your after-sex glow? It's turning all the guys on." "Oh shit! Focus!" Holden's voice boomed. The guys snapped their heads from me toward Holden. His angry gaze found me, and he sneered. "Does that happen all the time?" I whispered. Ivy shrugged. "It shouldn't." So, what the heck was going on? "Gia, what the hell is going on?" I asked my wolf. "I don't know." She sounded too innocent for her own good. After Holden was done talking, Titan appeared with 2 people walking behind him. A girl with a purple braid. She wore the same uniform as the rest of the girls. The guy was as tall as Holden and had about the same medium built as the rest of the guys here. Titan explained that they were new recruits going to help shape us into the army we were supposed to be. The 2 shifters shared similar features like eyes and their bone structures. They could have been siblings. "Buffy!" Holden blasted. Up here! Shit, I mumbled. Eyes followed me like a lost dog up to the front of the class. Titan took one look at me and his eyes shot up in flames. He didn't throw a fit, but this body language was a clear indicator of how pissed he was. You're going to battle Rowan, Titan said. I looked at Rowan. He was ready to kick my ass with a staff in his hands. He didn't look affected by my after-sex glow, or maybe he was good at hiding it. I got my stuff. Here we go.
After the battle.
You did pretty good. Rowan and I laughed as we made our way to the showers. I lost 3 times and Holden yelled at me each time. Rowan smirked. Yeah, but you got me the last time. Why do I have a feeling you let me win? He laughed. Spend more time with me, and you'll figure out I'm too competitive for that. Rowan was pretty cold. I expected him to be as stuck up at Holden. I might take you up on that. The guys' showers are that way. He smiled. When he did, a dimple appeared in his right cheek. Oh, and Buffy. I turned. Cold water. Huh? Cold water. To get rid of the glow. He smirked. Oh, thank goodness. I thought I was going to walk around like this for the rest of the day. We went our separate ways, and for the next half hour, I scraped the after-sex glow away. Seriously. Someone had to have mentioned this to me. When I emerged from the showers, Rowan and his sister Susie were talking to Titan outside his tent. I dipped my head and tried to scurry away. Buffy! Titan barked. I sighed and dragged my feet over to them. Alpha? He eyed me over. Hopefully the glow was gone. You're on patrol tonight. Me? He stared at me as if I was stupid. Be ready by 8. Before Titan walked away, he whispered, behave yourself. I frowned. What did he think I was going to do out there? Find a nice chance and touch myself really quick? I scrawled and rolled my eyes. See you later, Rowan told his sister. Are you on patrol too? Susie had intense blue eyes and rock-hard muscles. She wasn't like her older brother. She was a general in every sense of the word. She kept her hands tucked behind her back and nodded. I heard you have a reputation of being late, Buffy? I swallowed. Not always. I can assure you I won't tolerate such. You'll be ready to patrol by 8 or else I will report you and you will be disciplined. She walked away. I swallowed the lump in my throat. I watched her disappear. That was enough to strike fear in me. I arrived at the starting point at 7:59. That was how much Susie's warning had hit me. Our job was to look for weak spots in the woods and look for signs of any predators. Along with Susie and 4 other men, we split up and went in search of anything that could harm us. We had a signal for if we found anything. A howl to the moon. I'm exhausted. I slumped against a tree. I had been walking for over 2 hours. The forest was clean. No intruders in sight. Can't believe I have to do this all night. I groaned as I got up. When I stood up, the scent of blood filled my nostrils. My pulse quickened. The more I walked, the stronger the scent of blood got. It could have been an animal. So I tried to calm myself. I would still have to report it to the rest of the guys. When I got to the source, I cupped my mouth and stumbled back. Blood stained the trees, covered the green bushes. Oh no! Bile rose to my throat. I couldn't make out what animal it was. Then I wasn't so sure it was an animal, not with the pieces of leather scattered on the ground, pieces of remains stuck to the leather pieces. I dared to take a step forward. I spotted purple fur. Then I realized it was hair. I shifted into a wolf and sounded the distress call. My howl echoed into the night for several heart-wrenching seconds. No one responded. My body trembled, then soothed when the howl of an alpha wolf cut through the night. He was coming.
Chapter 11.
We can't be sure it was her. Holden blasted. The troops are still searching. Let's hope they find her. Titan said. No one heard her scream? This makes no sense. Follow me. We'll get to the bottom of this. Holden scrawled. Before storming out of Titan's tent, I was wrapped in a blanket, rocking back and forth on the little plastic chair in the corner. Holden took 3 of the superior wolves on sight. Out of the tent with him, it was just Titan and I. He appeared in front of me, but I couldn't lift my head to meet his gaze. Buffy? I lowered.